Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. It's your girl Lillian coming with another video. Look, y'all, I've been over here playing with this trying to see what's going on, just trying to see what's going on. Oh, I can hear. Oh, no, sorry, my bad. I just have to make sure. So I don't know. I have these lights on bright, and I have all the lights in here, even though it looks dark, but I have the lights on, y'all. Like, so I don't understand why it looked dark. Anyway, effective communication is not a TED Talk, but welcome to mine. That's the video. That's the title. I've been working on this. I really have. I feel like in the age of social media, we exist in echo chambers. Right? And sometimes we don't mean to make an echo chamber. It's just that your algorithms are going to show you things that you're automatically interested in. Like, this is what you love. This is what you engage with. So, and these are the viewpoints that you agree with. So this is what we're going to be seeing all the time. Anytime you see something, even I encourage you, if you see something that you don't agree with, just go ahead and decline that, not interested, mark it as spam. I do that all the time, right? But the thing is, that's good because we can keep our awareness on what is important to us and not care about other things that are not important to us. But at the same time, it creates an environment where we are not being exposed to other people's opinions and different things of that nature. And just because you're exposed to someone that has a different opinion from yours or whatever doesn't mean you react in a certain type of way. So we have to learn how to deal with people who are just different, have different viewpoints and everything like that. I'm a firm believer that we can talk all day. We just gonna keep it respectful and everything like that. I feel like when we're communicating, a lot of times the goal seems to be for other people or whatever is for you to change the other person's mind. And that is not what we're trying to do. Okay, that is not. I feel like a lot of arguments and fights happen because somebody is not being heard. Well, if you're just counting the seconds, right? Counting the seconds until the next person is your turn to talk, then you're not being an effective communicator because you're not listening to what they have to say and you're not really digesting what it is that they're saying, right? So that you can give them a rebuttal. Okay, it's a feedback. You have to listen, digest it, and then provide the feedback. That's a conversation. You going back and forth, back and forth. That's what that is. Not in a negative tone, though. Back and forth can be misconstrued, right? With connotation and the denotation, right? I always remembered it. I loved English. I loved English class growing up. I know it might sound like sometimes I don't, but it is my favorite, right? The connotation, denotation, how you say things, and the context in which something is being said, who all is there. All of that has to do with the communication. All of that has to do with that, okay? And so we only socialize and we only, talk to people who we have common beliefs with. That's in our waking lives, and that was what they call cliques and everything of that nature. Or it's just that that's who you're around. I feel like a lot of times it's not even about, who you align with, but it could also be proximity. When we're in school, kindergarten up until high school is proximity based. You're friends with whoever is around you at that specific time. That's why you have all these subcategories of people. You're at the same high school, but you might have your own different subgroup. Right? So you have, the nerds and the honor student over there. Then you have the cheerleaders and the extroverts and everything over there. And then you might have the artsy kids, and you have all these different things. And everybody has their own communication style, and you have to be able to navigate those different things. Now, I have always prided myself, right, of being able to talk to anybody. I can keep up with anybody. It didn't matter where you put me in the class. I was able to have a conversation, right, with anybody. I could align with anybody. I could get down with the artsy people. I could get down with the smart people. Cheerleading. I tried to do drill team, but I couldn't remember the steps, you know, and my mom was a cheerleader and everything like that. And I always felt some type of way that I wasn't able to be the cheerleader because I just couldn't remember the steps. And it just was not a priority for me, but it wasn't. You know, like my grandma was like on the flag team. So they were, you know, so it was just a different vibe. But like I was able to finagle into like the football, all that stuff. I was able to communicate with different types of people growing up. So now, you know, when I went to college, I was able to communicate with a whole bunch of people. If you work in restaurants and service industry, you kind of have to talk and relate to different type of people, read people, see what they kind of, you know what I mean? Like all type of stuff. And so now I have been able to use that as an educator in the library. I'm able to talk to everybody. I understand everybody's points of view. We don't necessarily agree, right? But I understand where everybody is coming from. So it would make sense that people automatically come to me, right, with their problems because I seem to understand everybody's problems, right? But sometimes my bandwidth be going crazy because I be like, I need a time to process. I'm processing a lot of data. Now, something I've noticed in interacting with different people is that we automatically think that if you're loud, that your opinion or whatever it is that you're trying to say is going to be more important. Not necessarily so. All right. Like we think that the quiet kid is very shy, not going to be able to do nothing. No, shy people, quiet people pack a powerful punch. You never want to make that mistake, right? Never want to make that mistake of thinking that just because something is a little more quieter, subtle, that it's not as important, right? And automatically thinking that everything that is loud, being repeated over and over and over again, because that is a tactic of propaganda. Propaganda likes to be talked and saying things over and over and over again because we automatically assume that if we say it over and over and over, right, it's going to be more important. It's embedded into your subconscious and it has to be true, because why would you repeat things that are not true? But people do it every single day. That's why you have to know. You have to do your research. You have to do your due diligence, right? Especially even in this digital age, especially with AI and everything, you have to do your research. You have to be that much more critical, you know, but they don't teach the critical thinking in the school systems no more. They don't encourage you to think like that for real. But we're just talking about communication. So the biggest lies, right, in addition to things being repeated over and over, so we often think that it's what you say, but it's not just what you say. Like I said earlier, it's not just what you say. It's how you say it. It's who you talking to. Who's in the room when you said it, right? What was the environment like? What was going on? Like, you got to tell the whole story. Now, a lot of times people think that African American, Black people, and ethnic people really speak in circles, but we don't. Now, you can look up, okay? You can look up different communication patterns, okay? Now, in English, it's very linear. You get straight to the point. But in other communication, ethnicity, everybody over there, we talk in a circular pattern. It's kind of like this because we need the context. We want to know the story because we can associate the information with something else. We're relating information. It's not just one order thing. See, over in English, we think that it's just one thing and that's it. Over here in the circular communication style, we like to know everything that go with. We're relating everything in one thing. So I'm talking to you, but I'm relating it to multiple things. Okay. If we just talking about A, B, C, and D, I have to relate it to numbers or something. Like I have to relate it so that you can have some type of experience with it. I'm just not just throwing stuff at you and it has nothing to do with everything. Has something to do with something over in the circular communication pattern, right? So we need to know the context of what is being said. When you translate words, okay? When you translate words, some people do it word for word, but you can't do that because different words mean different things to different people, right? So period, you have to translate from idea to idea, okay? Right? If I say what's up, in Black people, we're saying You know, over there, not black people, but other people be like, what's up? But what's up could mean how you doing, what's going on. So that's just like, it's not what you say, it's how you say it and who you talking to. It depends on who you talking to. You know what I'm talking about. Anyway, sometimes certain words can be intimidating to certain people depending on who you're talking to, right? So if we were to use a different vocabulary set, right, and we were in a different demographic of people, then we're not going to be able to say certain things to certain people. For example, like say T.I., you know, he's a rapper, but I can tell that he has education. But sometimes when he's saying his words, it sounds like, okay, that he has opened up the thesaurus and he is being pretentious in the way that he is using the words because sir, your target demographic, right? You know, it just gives a different energy. And so it's just like, are you being pretentious? Are you actually like, are you really, you know, like it just gives that. It just gives that sometimes, you know. So we just, you know, and I don't like that all the way because I don't automatically assume, because people do that. I'm trying to choose my words right. Okay. So certain political people seem to think that African American vernacular English is all that we are capable of, right? Some people think that that is all we are, right? But then also we sometimes look down on our own communication, right? I wanted to include that because our communication evolves, okay? It's always evolving. Just like other people can speak their native tongue while they're talking and they have Spanglish and they have all these other things, we have that too. We call it code switching. We talk, we have a good time, and on my channel, we just be having a good time. A key, you know what I'm saying? But when we're at work, we have a different conversation. It's a different, you know, it's a different vibe. It's a different vibe, okay? So we don't want to associate just because people talk a certain type of way, assuming that they are not intelligent. Okay, we're just having a good time. You know what I mean? You see the setting, I'm at my house. So obviously we can have these type of conversations, right? We can talk the way we want to talk because we're comfortable. But when we're in a different setting, we might say things a little more, you know, a little more jazzed up, a little seasoned up, a little professional. Give a little professional, a little blazer. That's what we're giving, okay? All right. The other thing is I'm noticing that, you know, our communication gets co-opted and called other things, you know, and it's our communication. It's our stuff, okay? So cite your sources. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, all right. Now, something that I want to talk about as far as communication is that when we're over explaining, it is often a trauma response. Okay. Now, we're having conversations and we might be, you know, talking with a friend, or we're talking to someone that is just automatically, you know, choosing to misunderstand us. And we think that there's misunderstanding. So let me explain a little bit more, right? So that they can understand where I'm coming from. Maybe, you know, but the thing is, I have learned that people, if you don't understand someone, you're choosing to not understand. You're choosing to not see people from their point of view. You're choosing that. Because it's just like, how do you not understand people? Like, are you not able to read? Are you not able to relate things and different things of that nature? Because when we're on social media and we're in our echo chambers and somehow we get outside of our echo chamber, right? And we are interacting with other people, it's like you're talking to a brick wall or you're talking in circles. That's why I just say block people, right? But that's not healthy because you can't block everybody just because y'all are not coming into a general consensus of something, right? At the end of the conversation, it should never be you align with me. you believe what I believe. No, it should be we can coexist. You saying what you saying, and I'm saying what I'm saying. Okay? Now you stay over there, I'm gonna stay over here. But it's cool though. No hard feelings, right? But the issue is we are having an issue where we cannot coexist. We are having an issue where we cannot come and have a meeting of the minds in a healthy and organic way. Okay? And that is what I'm seeing here, right? That is what I'm seeing with this communication. Now, people that are trying to do the work, they are trying to explain, because they're like, okay, because I'm like that. If there's an issue of us communicating and you're not understanding something, I automatically want to reteach it. I want to go back over it. Let's start it from the top, tippy top. Let's start it from the top. You see, but I feel like the people that are committed to misunderstanding, it doesn't matter what you say. It doesn't matter how you speak. It does not matter. They don't want to know. And what do you do in that instance, right? What if you have to work with those types of people? You see, what if this is your family? You gonna cut everybody out, right? Now, I'm not gonna lie. I be doing that. I shut down sometimes, but I'm learning to use my words. You know what I mean? I'm learning. And I feel like if I'm learning to use my words and not shut down old people and everything like that, I feel like you can do that as well, you know. But people really do be trying you. People really, they be trying, okay? I've noticed that when we are stressed out, when we have a lot going on, we want to talk. We want to explain it, right? I've also noticed, you know, when someone tells you something, you want to regurgitate, you want to provide that feedback. Like if someone told me they were going through a hard time and then you feel like it's a safe space to share that information. In my last video, day before, whatever day that was, I talked about not sharing. Well, if someone shares something to you, you feel like it's a safe space. I can share as well, but that is not necessarily so. Because if somebody is sharing something about somebody else, right, you feel like it's a safe space because y'all both feel the same type of way about said person, but you don't know that though. You see? And so now when you expose what you feel about this person that they talking about, then they go back and tell that person, but they don't say what they said, right? And then so now they talking about, oh, you talking about me. You see? And so that's why you should have never said nothing at all, because you can't trust nobody unless you know that you can trust somebody. You see what I'm saying? Anyway, it's just kind of like, you know, when we're talking, we can be emotionally driven instead of being logical, right? We're being emotional about it, and we get that emotional vibe, like the feeling. It feel like it's a safe space. It feel like this is the right time. It feel like, but no, you have to look at everything in black and white, especially at your job. Okay, now if you're in a relationship, it get a little rocky. You know, it'll get a little confusing because you don't know. He say he like me, but he not acting like it. And so now we got to go to the next page, okay? All right, we got to go to the next page, all right? So let me see. Effective communication is going to be clarity, okay? Confusion is going to always be no. Okay, in my opinion. Now, if you're confused, you can always ask the question. You can ask a question to, you know, gain clarity, provide some feedback. Give me, you know, you would say it like, I am understanding this behavior to be this. Okay, and that's what that means to me. However, I am not sure. I wanted to ask and see if you are saying something different. You know, now I'm going to be honest, okay, being from the South, if it walk like a duck, quack like a duck, it's a duck. So if he's not calling you, if he's not, you know, considering your feelings and all these different things, then no, he doesn't care. He doesn't, because if he could, he would. All right. And why haven't he? That's the question. That's where my head goes. Why haven't he did it? He should have did it before I even thought it. He should have been ready. You know, you shouldn't have to say stuff over and over and over again. You know, I shouldn't have to say it. What I gotta give a tutorial? No, we're not doing all of that. We're not doing all of that. We're really not. We're really not. I'm just saying. So effective communication is about clarity and reciprocity. If you pick up the phone and you call somebody and be like, oh, hey, how you doing? Da, 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 da. Nobody say nothing. Hello? Hello? Nobody say nothing. It's time to hang up. That's the same type of thing in relationships and in communication. We have to make sure that there is reciprocity and clarity. Like, hello, can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? That's how it go. You know? Okay. It says both parties should have something to add to the conversation. It's not just one person talking over the other person. You should be going back. It's like ping pong. We're going back. We're going forward. You know, you say something, I say something. You say something about the things that I said, and then you say, I'm going to say something about what you said, and we're going to keep talking and talking and talking until we get to them. Well, girl, let me call. You know what I'm saying? Like, until we get to closing it out. Until we close it out. Okay? Right. And so say you want to call somebody and you don't really have nothing to say. You just say, hey, I'm just checking on you. I ain't want nothing. That's it. I'm telling you that I'm calling you and I did not want anything. I'm just checking in. Oh, okay. I'm doing all right. Yeah. But let me go da da da. Okay. No problem. And bye. Now, if you're checking in on people and nobody checking in on you, I don't feel like that's a conversation that have to be had, because if people don't check on you, then they don't care. I know it sounds really, really harsh. It sounds very harsh when you say it out loud. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to hurt you like that. But what I'm saying is, if other people are not checking on you the same way that you're checking on them, that they don't care. You're not a priority to them. So you should not be checking in on them. You know, like that's just, I don't know. I'm giving very logical. I'm not trying to hurt no feelings, but that is what it is. If they don't care, they don't care. And you can't make people care. You can't make people, but you gonna really put them in a headlock because they're not trying to communicate and do all these other things. I feel like in the age of social media, we all got phones. We all got technology. There's no reason why people are not communicating. People be on TikTok all day, Instagram all day, social media, everything. If you want to talk to somebody, you can talk to somebody. So don't be trying to make up an excuse as to why somebody ain't talking to you, baby. They don't want to. That's what it is. They don't want to. Okay? They don't want to. That's it. That's all. Now, listen. Don't do this passive aggressive thing. Okay, this passive aggressive communication, I hate that so much. Now, here's the thing. People that are passive aggressive love to say that people that are direct, okay, that they are aggressive. And that really happens in working spaces when you're dealing with different types of people. They come from different places and things of that nature, and they have different communication style. Okay, and I've noticed that people that are passive aggressive come from a different specific vibe. Okay, all right. Now in our community, all right, we believe in being direct. Okay, we put it all out on the table. Okay, and we want to know, we all want to be on the same page in the same book. We all reading from the same part. Okay, and some people don't like that. They like to play their cards close to they chest and everything like that. And they like to keep stuff up their sleeve and keep secrets. We don't like to keep secrets. Okay, we don't like to keep secrets. We want to know what's going on, and we want to know right now. Okay, be straight with us. All right, but that is something that you have to learn when you're dealing with different types of people. Okay, now when you're dealing with your type of people, then that's okay. But when you're dealing with other people, you play how they play. When in Rome, do as the Romans do. When you're playing Uno and spades with different people, you play whatever the majority is playing. So if they're not being direct, if they're being passive aggressive, if they're doing all of that, then you just go ahead and mirror whatever they got going on over there. Because if you do your directions, right, do being direct, okay, they're going to call you aggressive. They're going to say that you're not a good culture fit. That's exactly what they're going to say. They're going to say you always got an attitude and everything like that. But we're just having a conversation. I'm not angry. Right? Even though your anger might be justified. Your anger might be justified because they playing with you, right? But they're doing all of these different microaggressions and things of that nature, and they think don't nobody know. But you know, because I know, right? We know. We peeping it. We looking at the same thing, but they don't see it that way, and they're going to use that against you. So you know what? Act just like them. Mirror whatever they got. Soon as they start crying, oh, you got a tear falling down. You need to have 2 or 3. Soon as they got 1, you got 5. Okay? That's how many tears need to be flowing. Okay? You need to go ahead and get the waterworks. You need to go ahead and get Viola Davis in there. Okay? Straight up. Because it's not fair, but you have to mirror and you have to play your role, play your part. Okay? Listen, I went on a tangent because communication is going to fluctuate depending on where you are and who you're with, right? And the reason I want to talk about English, traditional English, is straight to the point, right? However, it's also passive. It's always passive. The other people be passive with their stuff. Something always happening to them. You see, it's never about what we gonna do. It's all about what is happening. You see, it's just you notice the trends. You notice the trends. Okay, listen. If you are in communication with somebody and it is emotionally draining, right? It's time to go ahead and cut that off. I need to learn it. That's something that I had to write down for myself, because if it's draining you, it's not in alignment. Okay, not in alignment. If there's an issue where someone it's a miscommunication, it's always a misunderstanding, not in alignment, right? Because people that are committed to the relationship, that are committed to the community, like the community and everything of the nature, they want to understand your viewpoint. People that want to be around you, people that like you, people that are trying to be in relation with you want to know you, right? They want to know you and they want to learn to speak you. They want that. There's a desire. You have to want that. Some people don't want it. Some people don't. They don't care. And you have to take that on the chin. Like, they don't want to know. They don't want to relate, you know? And I want to say this. Just because somebody does not want to talk to you, just because someone does not want to relate to you, just because they are not interested, okay, in the dynamic, in the relational, in the community, does not mean that there's anything wrong with you. Okay, because it's easy to relate and say like, oh, because this one person, this one relationship didn't work out, or this dynamic or this job or whatever didn't work out, and we're not able to meet in the minds. What's wrong with me? Nothing's wrong with you. It's just not the space, not the conversation, not the person for you. And that is okay. And as things fall apart, okay, the fall apart is necessary because it opens up a space so that you can have a better opportunity to talk to somebody that really is about some sense. Okay, so don't put all your eggs in one basket and put all of your hopes, dreams, and wishes on one interaction, one person, one communicate, all of that. Because, girl, why? There are 8 billion, 9 billion, 10 billion people out here. Okay, I'm gonna round up 10 billion people, and you should be able to find somebody else, okay, as far as communication, as far as friendship, as far as jobs or anything, right? Because if people really care, then they would do the work to try to understand. You see, I am able to do that. I'm always trying to understand other people and why they talk the way they talk and why they do the things that they do and why they think the way that they think. But I don't ever be feeling like people are putting forth the same effort that I'm putting into it, because I really be trying to figure out, like, are you okay? Or are, like, what happened to you? Who broke you? You know what I'm saying? Excuse the noise. Like, what happened to you for you to feel like this is a great way to talk to someone, or this is how you should be relating to people, or that this is how you find your self-worth? I really be trying to understand people. Like, I really be trying to get to the bottom of it. Like, I'm doing psychoanalyst. I want to know everything. Tell me your stories. I want to know why. Because for me, it's not linear. It's the context. I can treat you better if I know about you. You see, And like, I might even make an excuse for you. I might, like, it ain't even your fault like that, for real. You've been through a lot. Like, I come up with all these different, like, that's your story. You know what I mean? Like, that's why you like that. You know, I'm not even going to be hard on you like that. But I'm learning, and this is going to be another video. I need to write it down. We got to stop looking at potential. Right? Gotta stop looking at potential and looking at what people are saying and what they're doing. Okay? We need to be looking at what you see right in front of you, because I be looking at everything else. I be looking at the context when I'm talking to somebody. I'm not looking at just you. All right? I'm not just reading your name. I'm not just reading that. I'm looking at your entire story. Okay? And I'm determining whether or not what category we're going to put you in and how we going to interact with each other. You know, maybe I should be a little nicer to you because I know that you're doing this, and that, or you're going through this, and that. Let me go ahead and do this for you because I can tell that you need help with da 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 da. You see, but it's just kind of like you have to take things sometimes for face value, and you can't, like, especially in relationships, like, potential is out the window. And we're gonna talk about that in another video, but potential is out. Potential is out. Now, friendships, yes, and we're gonna talk about, you know, holding on to friendships. They have been, like, for a long time. Like, y'all have more history together. It's a little hard to let that go. You gonna let go 10 years of friendship? You gonna let that go? You know what I'm saying? Some people be letting stuff go. I don't be letting look, I have that Scorpio and I got that Taurus and that Libra, all that stuff in there. I got a lot of earth signs in there, a lot of water with that, and yeah, but I don't be letting stuff go. That's what I'm trying. I was at work, they told me to let it go. And I don't be letting stuff go. I be holding grudges. I be doing all that stuff, right? Because I feel like if I give you a chance, I gave you another chance and another chance. And I really was holding it down for you, but you playing in my face. I take that personally. So when I finally snap, I'm not going to just get you for the one time. I'm going to get you for all the other times, right? So it looked like I hit you harder, but no, I got you for everything else, all right? It just came all at one time, you know. But anyway, moving on. We have to have good communication. Bad communication is vague. I've noticed that vague communication, when people don't ever say specifics. Okay. Now, I always do the thing about politics, right? They be telling people, if you ever listen, somebody ask them a question and then they say a whole lot of nothing, never giving specifics. So it don't matter what they say. All they got to do is make you feel good, right? So they be hitting all these different communication points. And I'm not going to say, you know, emotional manipulation, but it's not just politics. It's like in your regular day, like especially jobs, they be saying stuff without actually saying stuff, right? And then the things that they do say, you would never catch on like that. And that's why they have a lot of buzzwords, because they don't want you to know what's really going on. Now, we accept that. We accept that type of communication, that vague, inconsistent, emotionally driven, but not really being concrete and rooted in reality. Excuse me for not being able to talk right. But we accept stuff like that in, you know, work, political, and all of that. But when it comes to relationships, we can't accept that. So I feel like we shouldn't be able to accept it across the board, right? Because it makes it okay, and it's not. Like, if you're in a relationship with a guy and he's being very vague, we're going to go with the flow, and all this other stuff. He's talking in circles, no, he's a narcissist. He's playing in your face. Like, do not accept that. So don't accept it anywhere else. Now, at the job, you know, if that's your bread, you got to make your money the way you make your money. You just have to be able to realize it. So that's why, you know, as an African American, we have intuition, okay? Because we have always had to rely on using our intuition. And hopefully there's another black person in there. And if not, you just got to use your spidey senses and figure out what's going on. When they start talking about, you know, they in the budget, something wrong with the budget and all this other stuff, you already knew that. You already knew that. You training people on your role. You already know what's up. You know what time it is when they start talking about the money ain't right. If they ain't got no money for daily operation, how long it's going to take until they don't have no money to pay you? Right. Put the application in and see what you can find in the meantime, between time. That's what we do. You know, we know. We already know. You get some change, operational changes, you know, different people coming in and out and everything, like because most people keep their job. Most people like stability. Most people like that. But if you got a lot of people coming in and out, that means that's not the place for you. You're gonna be coming in and out. Okay, that's something that's communication, but it's not. That's just something you see. You see it. You can't act like you don't see it. That's communication right there. Nonverbal communication. Nonverbal communication, right? Hold on, let me go to that page, right? It's what you see in a certain type of behaviors, right? Now, I notice when people cross their arms and stuff like that, they got something to hide because they hold in their chest. Now, I be watching the people that used to work for the government tell you stuff about how people communicate, and I be looking to see what I can see, okay? Because I've noticed that. I've noticed that when people mirror you or when you mirror other people, that there's some type of, y'all are getting along, y'all are making things work, y'all are on the same page because y'all are, I put my hand on my hip, you put your hand on your hip, I do like this, you like, yeah, I'm gonna do like that. That means you are in tune with the conversation, you're mirroring each other, and that's okay, right? But like when there's like a cross in the arm, somebody's looking and then the other person looking that way, that means y'all not on the same page. So I be watching when they have those celebrity relationships and they are not doing the body language right. Body language says a lot without ever having to say anything, right? Do your research on stuff like that, okay? Do your research, because that's some subtle communication that you can do research and you can apply that to work, all right? Your relationships, everything, and it's important that when we're doing our communication that we are not being emotionally all the time, because sometimes it is very, very logical. We got to keep it simple. I'm gonna say keep it simple, sweetheart, okay? Because it's not that we're stupid, it's just that we care, but we can't always control who cares about us. You would think that people would treat you the way that you want to be treated, and you're treating them, and they will reciprocate that energy because you love them and you want them to love you, and it's just all this stuff. But you can't make somebody love you. You can't make someone want to be with you and communicate with you. It's either they gonna do it or they not gonna do it. And if they not gonna do it, you have to stand 10 toes down and be like, I'm not gonna deal with it. Okay, I'm just not gonna. I deserve better than that. Okay, I'm the head and not the tail. I don't have to put up with this. Okay, you don't want to talk to me? Then we don't have to talk. You see what I'm saying? Tigers do not change their stripes. That's what I put on here. Okay, do not make excuses for bad behavior. Do not make excuses for bad communication. Okay, because everybody can talk. We can have a conversation. Another thing, don't be always looking, right, for closure. They not gonna ever explain why. They're not gonna tell you why. We want to know why. They not gonna get, and even if they did give you an explanation, what type of explanation can you expect from someone that is inconsistent, vague, right? It's gonna be a whole lot of nothing. You're gonna be talking to them and you be like, oh my God, I am wasting my time. I'm wasting my time. They ain't talking about nothing. Ain't talking about nothing. So don't avoid being manipulated. I'm trying to get my notes and I see the time. I have so much fun, y'all. I got right into it this time too. I did. Listen, avoid being manipulated, okay? Avoid being manipulated. If you get a delayed response, that means you're not a priority, okay? Because if you text and he take forever to text you back, no. But at the same time, too, people be busy, but at the same time, no, absolutely not. No, it shouldn't be no delay. Like, how long of a delay? It might be like, no, because people talk to people that they want to talk to. If he ain't talking, that means he don't want to, and we have to accept. We have to accept what we have to accept. In the words of my father, you have to accept what you have to accept. You have to make peace with what you have to make peace with. You have to deal with what you have to deal with. Like vague means no accountability. I don't want to take it, because if you're vague, you never give specifics. You never get specific. So you can't tell me what I told you because you don't even know what I said. And so it don't matter what I said. I did what I said I was going to do, which was probably nothing. But I made you feel good. And that's vague. Vague is just like, is it gray or is it blue? Is it teal? Is it green? Is it, you don't know. It's hazel. You don't know. It's all of it. Okay? It's all of it. And you just, it's a vibe. It's a vibe. I'm not going to lie. Being vague is probably my favorite thing anyway, because especially like at work, when you're trying to satisfy so many people, the thing is you can never satisfy everybody. Knowing that means everybody is not going to get what they want. So words like, or phrases like, I'll see what I can do. I'm not going to see nothing. I'm not seeing nothing, but it sounds like I'm going to do something. I'm not doing nothing. If somebody tell you, I'm going to see what I can do, or where do you see this relationship? Oh, I'll see. We'll see. Maybe we can be friends. We'll see. They not seeing that. See what? What are you talking about? What are we going to see? What exactly is there to see? There's nothing to see. Like, what does that mean exactly? I'll see. It don't mean nothing. That's why we always say that. Like we say, I'll see. Listen, other thing I forgot to put on here, deflection and jokes. Now you see a lot of deflection in relationships and you see a lot of jokes in friendships, right? So when people say stuff, funny, trying to be funny, and so you see it in relationships too. They trying to knock you down a peg. Oh yeah. They can't be honest, right? Because they don't want to be aggressive or, outright disrespectful. So they put it in a joke, a kiki, and try to make it seem like, oh, it was just a joke. You taking it serious, right? And then when they say you being too serious or you need to laugh more, that's a microaggression and that's gaslighting to let you know that, yeah, but that's weird energy. Weird energy means that's not your friend, that's not the relationship, and that's not the vibe for you, period. Okay, what else to say? I think that's it. Inconsistent mean I like access and not responsibility. That's what it said. You want someone around, but you don't want them around. Like, I still want you on my roster, but I'm not committed to doing the work for us to be in relation like that for real. Like, I just want your name on my roster. Your name is going down on my phone. Like, we haven't talked, but I just want to keep you in my loop. Okay. But I'm not really trying to be in a relationship. It's not committal, right? But I just need you around whenever I want you around. That's access. I need access to you, but whenever I want it. Okay. Yeah. All of that. Mixed signals, confusion, right? If you're talking to somebody and you leave with more questions than you have answers, the answer is no. The answer is no. It's no. Get out of there for real. Okay. Communication is supposed to be, I was going to say cohesive. Right? But I can't say that because communication is not always cohesive. Sometimes, it might be all over the place because I am not always cohesive. But I feel like I get to the point. I'm explaining it. I'm giving you a tutorial on communication. I'm telling you the thing, right? It's 43 minutes, but I feel like it's 43 minutes well spent because I went over a lot of tough hitting things, right? Communication, depending on who you're talking to, if you're comfortable, it might take a little longer because you're having a wonderful time. We're having a great time. We're having a great, a vibe, but it's just kind of like you shouldn't have questions. You should not have questions. There should not be miscommunication issues at the end of a conversation. Okay? That's all I'm saying. Okay? Yeah. Expose yourself to different viewpoints. That is fine. Definitely. Expose yourself to different viewpoints. That is how we expand our knowledge and our areas of expertise. Right? But as far as relationships and things of that nature, if people are committed to not understanding you, okay, and how you relate, how you think, how you communicate, okay, then I just don't think that that's the dynamic for you. That's not it. Okay? All right? But keep out looking for those, watch out for those different communication styles I told you that people be trying to manipulate. Okay? All right? I'm telling you, they be doing that. Vague, inconsistent. All right? Things that your employers do or things that the politicians do, look at that. Look at that for real. Like, people be talking crazy. They be saying stuff without ever saying anything. Did you ever answer the question? No, you didn't answer the question. That was the point. That was the point. You know, and that's what I mean when celebrities don't have media training. They don't know how to duck and dodge stuff. Like, I remember somebody asked Mariah, this is a while back, Mariah Carey, how she felt about Eminem. And she said she was Godiva. See, but you would have to, you know, never mind. See, you would have to know the context. They were asking her because she used to date, or didn't, she don't know it, I don't know, it's none of my business. But it's just like, they don't have proper media training to say things like that. Every time you ask Mariah Carey something, she say, I don't know her. I never met her in my life. She could be lying, but do we know? We don't. We don't know her. Exactly. See, you have to be smart to be a good communicator. You have to be smart. You have to, you know. Anyway, thank you for coming to my TED Talk. I decided to get right into this video because I really enjoy communication. Hopefully when I watch it back, it makes sense. If not, I'll make a part 2. So yeah.